Welcome to A Simple Life. I want to show you guys something that has been up here at Herman's for probably 20 plus years, maybe 30 years. This is Herman's off-grid cabin that he built from wood that was milled up here years ago. And so it's been a long time since it's had any TLC, but it's solid, it's not rotting. It's definitely got some dirt and stuff piled up against the bottom of it. It's lifted off the ground. At one point there was water run here. There's no longer water run here. You can see it's just old and rustic and just really super cool. There's some issues, obviously, like anything like this. There's issues. For example, there's not really a hearth underneath the fireplace. There's a bunch of old couches and stuff that need to go. It's been locked down. It's really secure. It's just not finished, and so it's something that I think the boys and I are gonna take on. It's got a loft up here. Right up here, there's a loft where there's a ladder and you can climb up, put a couple bunks up there. So we're going to spend some time over the next probably 2 to 3 months, and we're going to get this set up. This cabin's gonna serve a pretty cool purpose. It's gonna allow for the boys and I to have a kind of off-grid cabin kind of place to do a boys' night. And also it's so beautiful and quiet up here. And I'll give you a little bit. Unfortunately, Herman didn't put a lot of windows in the cabin, which is really unfortunate. I might remedy that because we got a whole wall right there. And it looks over what is a beautiful scenery. It looks over this ravine, and this ravine, it goes down about 50 feet down there, and then over here it goes down about 100 feet, and you can actually see there's a few cedars. There's a cedar right there, and you see the top of it, but as you walk down the ravine you realize the bottom of it's like 3 feet thick. But up here it looks like it's just a little tiny guy. So it goes down, that ravine goes down probably over there. It's probably about 100 feet, maybe 150 feet below us. This whole hillside just drops off and goes down. This is not going to be an extra big project. This is something that we're just going to clean the cabin up. That's all. We're not going to remodel it. We're not doing anything fancy to it. We're just going to clean the cabin up, and then we're going to start using it. I'm obviously going to put a hearth underneath the fireplace because that's just intelligent. But overall, we're not going to do much. I don't even think I'm going to replace the carpets. It's just stinking cool. It's one of those little cabins that if you tried to put it here, it would take a whole lot of effort. But Herman just placed it here like he knew what needed to go here, and it's underneath these massive trees. The one thing we need to do, this thing is standing dead, so that's gonna have to be addressed. And there's not really, well, that's not true. I guess there is a way to cut it down. Fall it right there, fall it right between these two. There's not much for it to catch on. That would be a trick. That would be an absolute trick. That would be a trick to get that thing to go right through there. Okay. It wouldn't be a trick if you tied a rope to it or used an excavator, which is totally probably, or a dozer, which is totally probably what I'll do. I'll probably use a dozer and pull it down right between there. So I guess it wouldn't be a trick in that case. But it'd be a trick to hand fall it. But I'm not gonna do that. I don't wanna risk this cabin. And that does need to go. All right, well, I've chatted enough about the cabin. And the boys you guys don't have to cut down everything. You're doing a heck of a good job.
Yeah, we cutting that down while we're fixing the shed.
Wow, they did a really good job. You could barely walk down this 20, 30 minutes ago. I'm gonna go and start working on the greenhouse because we got all kinds of work to do on that, and it's coming along beautifully. So I'm up here at the top. The boys are still down there clearing that area up, and I got a raven saying hi to me. Sorry for that. Can you please be quiet, Mr. Raven? I don't think he's gonna listen. Huh, so frustrating. Anyways, I let the goats out when we came up here earlier, and they were eating some apples and stuff underneath the apple trees, the ones that have fallen, and then they disappeared. And I know where they went. They went to the same place that Cookie Dough got injured. So I'm gonna show you how I round up the goats. It's not gimmicky, it works, and it keeps me from having to hike all over the place. And so it involves my drone, and it's worked really well, like incredibly well for doing this. All right. Now, you guys can't see it, but I have a screen here that I can see, and so I'm just gonna fly over until I see my. So this is not cinematic footage, as you're obviously seeing. I actually use the drone as a tool. It's worked really well for being able to get an idea of where my animals are going, as well as where they're at. We have another goat somewhere up ahead of us. Somewhere, I think in that area. Oh, there it is right there. Okay. So let's go push that goat over. Make sure I'm high enough off the ground. I'm actually 100 feet. I'm 100 feet lower than I currently am. So, to give you an idea why I didn't want to go walking all the way over there. But you can see, they went right through that blackberry bramble and then eat it. So they don't always eat the blackberry bramble like I've talked about in the past. Sometimes they'll just nibble on it. So if you really want them to eat it and really like put damage onto it, you really gotta have to put them in there and close it off, so they're kind of forced to browse it down. All right, well, I'm going to pull the drone back in. I'll bring it back so you can hear kind of what it sounds like. So that's what I was doing to them. All right, enough playing with the toys. Let's get the greenhouse work done. We have the post in. We got the beam right here. This is the beam I'm gonna be using right here. And our posts are in. They're all leveled up and ready for that beam to be put on top. Before I put that beam on top, I'm gonna see how far down I can put it, because if I can get it down to the 8-foot mark and it still stretches from one side of the hoop house to the other, then great. If not, I'll put it on top. All right, I'm gonna get some work done.
A little bit of a rant here. So I took my boys to a hardware store the other day and we were getting some fittings, and I asked Clint to hold a piece of pipe for me. And I said, you just hold it, stand right here, I'll be back in a second. I couldn't have been more than 10 feet away, and this older gentleman who worked at the hardware store came up and goes, you need to put that down, you're gonna get hurt. And Clint looked at me completely confused, could not figure out how this pipe was going to hurt him. And I asked him, I go, hey, is there a problem? And he goes, yeah, that pipe's going to hit him in the head. And now this is like a 5-foot tall piece of pipe. And I go, well, I don't think so. He'll be fine. I just asked him to hold it, and he's doing a good job. And the gentleman's like, well, he can get hurt holding that. I turn to the gentleman and I go, I don't think that's going to happen. He'll be perfectly fine holding that pipe. And I don't have any issue with the gentleman being careful or caring about my boys. But when did young people become so helpless that they can't stand there and hold a 5-foot piece of pipe and not hit themselves in the head with it? It baffles me that we are not raising young people with more common sense and tenacity and backbone and intelligence, that they can't stand and hold a piece of pipe or do a simple job without us worrying whether or not they're going to brain themselves. Anyways, I'll get off my high horse and get some more work done. And then on the other end, I brought a post over yesterday, and this is a post I brought over yesterday right here. And it's approximately 20 feet, 18, 20 feet long. And then I got the new pup. She's doing really good. So we'll be putting this in, and then that's gonna have hip board and a toe board across the end, and that'll be set up. And then down here, we will do a hip board and toe boards going to the doorways. And just the doorway will be the only thing that's open. It wasn't what I originally talked about, but I started to realize that it's all I really needed. I'm not coming in here. I want to be able to roll up everything 4 feet down so I can get a good breeze coming through here in the summer. But what I don't want to have to worry about is I don't want to worry about animals. So I'll be able to I'm going to put pig panel around the whole thing so I don't have to worry about dogs, not just my dogs, coyotes. We have a friend with Filberts right down the road, and I actually had it on trail cam. Coyotes come in and chew his filberts down. Just chew on them. They're like toys. Just chew them. And you're like, what the heck? Why is it? And he thought it was deer. And the deer do nibble on him, but the real damage that one year was the coyotes just snapping off the young ones and playing with them like they're toys. So I'm not worried about coyotes coming in my greenhouse. But raccoons, skunks, porcupines, dogs running through it in pure bliss and excitement, that kind of stuff. Goats, potentially. Yeah, my goats are in fencing, but there are days like today where I like to let them out. I like to let them just graze. They go and graze, they eat some stuff, they get some browse they didn't normally get. They come back. I know they come back every single time. They always come back to the goat hotel every night. So if I would have just left my goats out, would they have gone back to the goat hotel? No. So what I've done is I've actually trained my goats kind of to do a daily migration. And what does that daily migration look like? Whether it's within a fenced-in area where they have housing or where their water bucket is, or whether it's just in an area that I've set up for them, what they do is they go out and browse. And then in the evening, they come back to where I have the water, where I have the hay, or I have the goat hotels. After I did that within a fenced-in area over the course of like a year or two, probably about a year and a half, I then have the ability to just open the gate, and they will go and they will browse through the woods, and then evening they come back. Now, this can be troublesome with young goats. I don't suggest doing it unless you have very hardy young goats. If those babies aren't spry enough to keep up with the herd, they'll take a nap, and the herd walks off not knowing the mom's calling for them, but they are sleeping. And by the time the mom realizes they're missing, they could be 100 yards away. Those baby goats will never know that mom walked off. Managed to get him to do that.
He tried to kick me by scratching his leg, and I got him to fall down.
Wow. I think Clint's just giggling too much. Oh, he's gonna get you now, Clay. Come here. I'm not gonna pick you up. She thinks I'm gonna pick her up and put her in the truck. Oh, yeah, she's a sweet girl. You're a sweet girl, aren't you? I'm still trying to figure it out around here. Yeah, she's doing really good. With your little raccoon eyes. Oh, I don't want a stinky goat poo kiss. Oh, now you're ready to get all in my lap. All right, I don't want any kisses. All right, well, like I was saying earlier, the goats went on their adventure and they came back. And look where they're grazing.
They're grazing right here. They are grazing right in here. That mama is so stinking wide. Boys, we're separating the moms. That goat tail tells me more than I... Yeah, look, this udder is completely full. Yep. All right, you boys ready to do a little goat moving?
Yep.
Nothing. I just thought you were gonna hurt yourself. All right, let's go. Let's go shut the gates, and then we'll move the mamas in. I'm often off by about 2 weeks with goats. Something about goats, I just can't read them right. I say that I've gotten better over the years, but generally I'm off by about 2 weeks. But those udders have really gotten big over the last 2 days, like really big. And those moms are getting really wide. Now they always get really wide, but the udders is what is telling me that I need to be careful. I really don't want to lose any baby goats. I would rather be safe than sorry. We have the netting up. That's that corner with the extra rolled up bit. I need to get some posts in here to raise this up off the bramble so we're not shorting out, and down there the same thing. That's what the boys are going to go get. Other than the post needing to be put in, we're ready to push the goats in. So let's get the goats pushed in.